Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fandom Academy episode 15. We have loads to talk about today, and I am joined by my great friends and co-host, Layla Falcons Nat and Jaden Cameraman Duran. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited to talk about Mando. I talked about it last night on the Agents of Fandom podcast, which you can go and listen to. But I'm just very excited because I will take any opportunity I can to talk about it, and I really love this season. And also Ghosted, which I just finished not so long ago, and I'm really excited to talk about that too.
Yeah, I'm doing good too. It's gonna be a good episode. I feel like we're very focused. We don't have a lot of things going on, so it'll be a good discussion.
Absolutely, and no better discussion than one about my husband, Chris Evans. We got our first Chris Evans movie, and it seems like forever today, and it was so much fun. Ghosted is such a wild ride. It's like so chaotic and so funny at the same time. There's loads of great surprises, great moments, and loads of Chris Evans and Ana de Armas being beautiful people. Layla, what did you think of Chris Evans' new movie on Apple TV?
I After seeing the early reactions yesterday, like when people got screeners for it, I was a bit skeptical because not a lot of people were like loving it, and I was really excited for it. But it was like one of those movies that you just watch because it's fun. Like it's not meant to be like this great thing. It's just fun, and like you said, it was chaotic. I loved the dynamic. I love Chris and Anna working together in anything they're in, and I just loved it a lot. It was like the biggest bisexual panic movie I've watched in a very long time. Like, I was
Ew.
struggling. Like, yeah, but I enjoyed it. It was so much fun.
Jaden, what did you think of the movie?
It was such a fun movie. I love seeing Anna and Chris on my screen. Just giving them to me all the time because they're hot as fuck. And it was a ton of fun. Really cool surprises, like CJ said. And yeah, it was just a good time the whole time.
The more and more Chris Evans films I watch, I think he like excels when he's being so unserious. Like
Yes.
one of my favorite Chris Evans movies is Not Another Teen Movie, which is one of his first he made, and he has a fucking banana sticking out of his ass in that movie. So just like the roles like that, and like he is like Cole in this movie where he's just a dork is
hmm
that's my favorite Chris Evans, I
He
think,
was he was
and
so
I love
pathetic
it
in
so
this. I
much.
loved it.
It's so good. I only texted her a few times, sent her like 20 messages. Don't worry though, the emojis don't
They
count.
don't
Don't
count.
count. So we're good there. But him being a little botanist and carrying around the little cactus with him,
Yes.
so wholesome. I loved it so much. And speaking of cactuses and plants, Chris Evans and Anna on the red carpet for the premiere said they wanted to work in a musical together. And
Oh,
we all know how Chris Evans was previously casted in a now gone Little Shop of Horror movie. So let's bring that back. Let me
yes.
get Chris Evans in a musical, please. I would do about anything for that. So manifesting that into the world for
Definitely.
sure. But unless anyone else has anything to add for our spoiler-free ghosted conversation.
Just like the cameos in this as well. Like we won't spoil because it's literally been out a day, but I was like, you like so many times. It was so fun, even though they were only on the screen for like a minute. I was like, whoa! I did not expect them at all.
There was one in particular that referenced a Marvel movie that I
Yes.
really, really loved.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
so awesome, and it had me laughing and crying out of my seat. So I
Yeah.
definitely love the cameos in this movie, for sure. Jaden, do you have anything else to add? Final thoughts on Ghosted?
Uh, Definitely check it out. I feel like there's no reason not to. It's all written there for you. Just check it out. You're gonna love it.
Yes, absolutely. But let's go to today's main event, and we could talk about this for probably a good 40 minutes because, boy, there's so much to talk about. Mandalorian Season 3 is finished, and it's been a minute since we've talked a Mando episode with you, but these past three episodes have all built to this last one, and this last one I thought was super climatic, but it didn't really hit all the beats I wanted it to. We got some cool action shots, and it was a lot of fun, but I didn't think it encapsulated the entire season as I would have hoped a little bit. Layla, what did you think of the finale of The Mandalorian?
I really enjoyed it, and I said this last night on the iOS podcast, and I can see where people's concerns are coming from. Like some things just weren't like big payoffs for what had previously happened in the season. But I said on our very first episode or like one of the early episodes where we did our Mandalorian primer, all I wanted from this season was Din and Grogu being more father and son and just having more of that, and that is exactly what I got this episode. So I was really happy with it. But like I said, I can see where people are coming from with like the things that didn't really hit, but I really enjoyed it.
And Jaden,
Yeah,
what did you think?
for me, it's like I said, like I kind of been saying like this season is definitely not my favorite season as opposed to the first two. But like Layla said, like I've been having a good time with every episode. Like regardless of its potential problems or what people are disliking about it, like I have fun with all these episodes, and the finale was no different. I like, Din and Grogu having their moment. Loved that so much. Literally, like gave me tears. I'm not gonna lie. And just like it was a great episode, and I'm excited to see where they go from here.
And now we can get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode, stop watching us and come find us later. We'll still be here, I promise. But let's talk about some of the big moments from this episode. And the first thing I want to get into is the dark saber seems to be gone. It seems to be broken, which was such an interesting choice that I was not expecting. It seemed like it was almost a mantle of the leaders of Mandalore. And honestly, this was kind of my first little criticism of the episode, or the thing I didn't really love. Because it seems like the marketing and almost all of season two led up to Din getting the dark saber, just for in this season him struggling to use it, just to give it back to Bo, just for it to be destroyed. It seems like there wasn't really a lot of payoff for the story they were trying to tell. Layla, what do you think of the dark saber being destroyed?
Yeah, I was a little confused because we've literally seen Din use it like 4 times, and every time he's used it, he struggled with it. Like he's never learned how to use it properly, even though so many people were like teaching him. Like the armorer was giving him like tips and tricks, I guess, in the Book of Boba Fett, and it kind of made me think like this season we would get to see him use it a lot, and he would learn to use it properly, and he would rule Mandalore, and that would be it. And then Bo-Katan got it, but she had it for like 2 episodes. And like we saw her use it really well in previous episodes this season. And we know that like that's all she wanted from like the season 2 finale. Like she was so like mad when Din defeated Moff Gideon because all she wanted was the dark saber. And she finally got it, and then she lost it after 2 episodes. So I was like, I really thought that it would kind of evolve into season 4, and maybe season 4 would be like more focused on Bo-Katan with the dark saber reuniting Mandalore. But I guess it's kind of more of like the dark saber isn't like the end of the world. We don't need a weapon to bring us together, and Bo-Katan can reunite her people without needing like a symbol to reunite them, and she can just do that because she is mother. I don't know.
And with that, you always got to wonder if it'll come back. Jaden, do you think we'll ever see the dark saber be rebuilt or reformed, or what do you think about
I
that?
think I think in situations like this, being that it was that there was such a strong symbol behind what it was and what it meant and what it did for the Mandalorians, I feel like there is a high chance of saying it could come back. However, kind of like what Layla was saying with, proving to themselves that they don't need this item to hold them together as they're stronger together. And that's something that we've definitely been exploring a lot this season. Um, and we saw it in this episode as well, like with all of them in cohesion, flying down to, fight together. I think that was something that they were trying to tell there. Do I agree with it being destroyed? Not necessarily, because we barely got any use out of it, but it's fine. It is what it is, and hopefully there is a plan moving forward, but we'll see.
And the next conversation I wanted to have kind of revolves around her using it in this episode, and that was how good a lot of the action scenes were for a Star Warsy show. This is a lot of hand-to-hand combat, which is super super cool to see. There was this one particular set of shots that I really enjoyed, where the Mandalorians were flying on their jetpacks against the stormtroopers with their jetpacks, and they were fighting in midair. Specifically, the armor on Bo-Katan in those scenes, and Koska Reeves stole the show. They were all kicking so much ass. And seeing every time I see the armor use her hammer, she just looks like such a
She's
badass.
so
Like I
cool.
love her so much. And I know people were theorizing that going into this episode, she might have been like a spy or a traitor, but I really hope not after this, because seeing her in action right there really sold me and really makes her one of my favorite Star Wars characters to exist. because she's literally looks like Thor up there with that hammer. Like it's so cool. Jaden, what was your favorite moment of action from this episode?
Favorite moment of action. I really enjoyed seeing Moff Gideon and Din go at it. I also enjoyed seeing him and Bo go at it when she had the dark saber. That was super sick. I completely forgot that the dark saber doesn't go through Beskar. So that, just having that, like, with every time she hit his armor, or like the spear that he had, it was always like crazy lights and stuff. I loved it. But yeah, that just brought me back to being a little kid, and I was like, oh wow, flashing lights, so cool. But yeah, I love that a lot.
And speaking of uh, little kids, Layla, what did you think of Grogu's action in this episode?
He was doing so good. I was like a proud mother, like watching him like kick those touring guys' ass. Like, when he was like up on the little like ledge and he was just like running and giggling at them, like, "Ha, fuck you!" Like he was doing so good. And then when he was like fighting like saving Din, and when he did that little slide on the floor, like kicking off like that little scene, I was like, yes, that's my child. Like you do you. I'm so like proud of him. And then like it's kind of like nice to see that like Luke taught him well, I guess. Like that's just like a nice little thing because like he learned kind of like the combat, I guess, from his time with Luke, and just seeing that like come into his everyday life was really cool. And yeah, he did good. I'm proud of him.
I think my favorite moment of this episode entirely is when Den is getting beat down by the Praetorian guards, and Grogu and his IG-12 thing,
Yeah.
just with the most angry face you'll ever see, just hits no
No,
and
no,
starts fighting
no.
them. It was so, like, it's such an emotional moment, but I was laughing so hard. I think IG-11 Grogu or IG-12 Grogu, whatever the name is
Mhm.
my favorite part of this season in entire, like,
Yes.
in entirety, because
Has to
it
be.
is so precious, so funny, so creative. I know just 2 months from now I'm gonna go to Target and I'll see little IG-11 Grogu toys in the aisles.
And I will
I'll be
buy
so
it.
tempted to buy one because I think
No
that's
self
definitely
control.
my favorite part.
Yes.
But it also seemed in this episode that they teased Grogu saying his first words so much towards the end of the episode when Den like adopted Grogu and they were saying this is the way. I thought for sure I would have bet money on it that Grogu would have said it and surprised them all, especially because they said the line, "He can't be an apprentice, he can't speak yet,"
Mm.
or whatever. I was like, "Oh, this kid about speak."
Yeah.
But low key in that moment, I don't know if I wanted to hear him speak. I'm scared of what his voice is gonna be. I'm
I know.
terrified.
I keep thinking about it, and I'm like, he could either sound like a fucking like old man, or he could have like the babiest voice ever. And I thought when Din said, "Okay, I will adopt him," I thought his first word was gonna be like "dad" or something, and he'd be like, "Dad." I don't know. I'm so scared to find out what he sounds like. Like it's just so weird.
Like I'm Jane, what do you think Grogu's first words will be?
Oh boy. I think it would actually be kind of funny if like he like gets hurt or something, or whatever the heck happens, and he goes, "Thank Ferric," and he just starts, like just stuff like that. That would be funny
No,
as
no, no.
hell.
He just says "fuck." That's his first
Yeah,
word.
That's what I was
yeah,
thinking from that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Grogu
That's
gets a little
funny.
hit and he just says, "Fucking hell."
Fuck. Ah,
I
that'd be
need that
funny.
now. I need that.
That'd be
I
funny.
need Grogu to be like Butcher from The Boys when he starts talking,
Yeah.
drop a curse word every sentence. It'd be so good. His first word's just, oh, that'd be so good. But
That'd be
we
funny.
see Din and Grogu settle at the end of this episode in a little house on, I think it was Navarro.
Mhm.
So, what do we think's next for them? Layla, I'll go to you.
I don't know, cause like I'm so happy that they're just sat in this little farmhouse having fun. Then I realized that this is Star Wars. We can't have a happy ending in Star Wars. That's not how it works. So I'm very scared. But it seems like that little like deal, like working for the New Republic and shit, that could be fun. Like them just going on little like side quests. Like it's kind of like season one where every episode was like a different mission. I guess I just wanted to go back to that. Those were the good old days, you know. But I also really think that, like I said before, if we do get a next season like confirmed, I think that will be based around Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians, and we won't see as much of Din and Grogu. I feel like they'll just like either have like a filler episode, like there'll be like a set episode that's just like revolved around them, and then they'll come back into the main story eventually, whatever that main story is. And every time we see them, they'll just have like gone on a little side quest and just bonding. I don't know, but I would really like to see. Someone made a tweet, and it actually like made my week. Have you've both seen Glass Onion, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the scene where like Hugh Grant walks in, like into Daniel Craig's like house, someone said I want Cobb Vanth to do that in Din's house, and I was like, that would just make my entire fucking life. Like them just living as a little family. Like I need that now.
And that was gonna be my next point. We didn't get Cobb Vanth at all
Where
this
is
season.
he? No, there's no way he's still
He's
soaking in
he's
that back tank.
sleeping in
I'm
the best.
sorry.
He's still sleeping in there. Because
What the
it was weird to
hell?
me. Because not only was that such a big part of the Book of Boba Fett, but he was a huge part of Mandalorian season
Yeah.
2 as well, and like their relationship. And it was weird that it wasn't even mentioned, like not even a name drop. So that
No.
was really weird to me. But and going back to the conversation of what's next for Mando and Grogu, though, um, we've known the show Rangers of the New Republic was going to be a thing, especially before all the stuff with whatever her name
Gina.
is. Yeah, I didn't know her name. So
Gina
I forget her
Carano.
last name.
yeah, we didn't. Good thing I don't know
We
her
don't
name.
mention her though.
Who?
But
Trigger warning.
but now that she's out of the picture, that show is kind of slowed down or kind of taken out of development. But I wonder if the Mandalorian is taken over by Bo-Katan, and since Mando has made the deal with the New Republic, maybe he will become a Ranger of the New Republic, and we get him
Yeah.
and like Carson Teva, and maybe we get like Zeb in that show because I'm not sure if Zeb's gonna be in Ahsoka, but like that'd be a fun place for him to be too, since we saw him working with the New Republic this season of the Mandalorian. So I feel like that could be a lot of fun. Jaden, what do you want to see next?
I honestly, I feel like that would be what I'm extremely hyped for. I didn't even think about that too. The Rangers of the New Republic. Yeah, that would be sick as hell. And just like, yeah, I would love that.
And definitely it would help play into the Filoni movie that's coming down the pipeline to just make that like an Avengers level end of series movie, which would be really, really cool. But let's focus more on what's next for the city or country, continent, planet of Mandalore, whatever it is. But we see Bo-Katan, the Armorer, they have officially taken back Mandalore. It is theirs. They have relit the Great Forge. And even though it's destructed, it's destroyed, it looks like rebuilding has begun. Jaden, what do you hope to see next from the state of Mandalore?
Uh, what I will say actually about the one scene where they lit the forges and Axe was like, "For Mandalore, for Mandalore," I literally got goosebumps watching that. I rewinded it, watched it again, got goosebumps again. It was great. That for me was like probably one of the biggest payoffs for the season. Um, but I don't know. I obviously I feel like next time we see it, there's going to be a lot of rebuilding done. Um, there's going to be a lot more cohesion between the two different tribes, clans. What are we calling them?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
People,
Clans,
either.
I
Okay.
groups
guess.
of
Yeah,
enemies,
whatever.
ops. I
I
don't
feel
know.
like they're gonna be more unified under one, like as they've been working towards. There's gonna be more foundlings. I'm hoping, which would be really cool. But yeah, I just hopefully the rebuilding takes place soon, and I would love to see Mandalore in live action and like looking as grand as it can be.
What I would love from the future of Mandalore, and what I would have loved out of Obi-Wan, and what I would have loved out of the first two seasons of The Mandalorian, is just please mention my girl Satine.
Yes.
Like, she was such a vital part of the Clone Wars, and Filoni usually does so much justice to his Clone War characters.
Hmm.
But for some reason, he's just never going to talk about Satine ever. And I really just put like a mural of her on the wall or something. Just let
Anything at
her
this
be
point.
alive. Especially because she's Bo-Katan's sister.
Yes.
Like, and Bo hasn't even mentioned having a sister.
I know.
Like that was a crucial part of the fall of Mandalore. And now that they have it back, you'd think she'd want to be like, I'm doing this for my sister, or I'm doing this for my
Right.
family.
Hmm.
This has been mentioned. And as a recently finished Clone Wars stan, I want to eat those crumbs up of
Yeah.
Satine. So I'm really hoping we get mention of that. And while I'm talking about people that don't get mentioned enough, let's start mentioning Padme more too. I expect at least 3 Padme mentions in Ahsoka, guys.
Oh my
I'm
god,
wanting
yes.
it.
I feel like I'd be
But
kind of mad if we don't at this point.
I know, especially because we're getting Hayden in that show too.
Yes.
Another person who
Yeah.
was not mentioned once in Obi-Wan, to my knowledge, to my memory, who really, really should
No.
have been.
Yeah.
So let's start mentioning the ladies of the galaxy because they deserve
Hell
it.
yeah.
But let's just do an end of season wrap up. So I'm gonna go around, Layla. I will ask you your favorite part of the season and your least favorite part of the season.
Um, my least favorite part, I don't really have like a moment where I was like, fuck, I wish this didn't happen. But one thing that kind of made me confused was just like Paz Vizsla died and then no one mentioned him ever again. It was like a little,
Exactly.
this is the way, I'll die now for you guys, you're welcome. Not one mention. Like even when his
Not even
son
his
was like,
child.
I was
Yeah.
yeah, like when his son is being like sworn into the creed or whatever, I was expecting a little like honoring your dad or whatever. Nothing. Rasmus was just fucked up and no one gives a shit. Like that's just a little that's the thing that annoyed me. But my favorite part, the armorer being like swinging through the air with her hammers. This is all from the finale. I've just realized, but and like seeing Elia Kane, like when that episode first came on, I get not many people liked that episode, but I was like, oh shit, she used to work for Moff Gideon. What's going on? Like the whole like suspense that it built, and I know that it didn't really pay off because there wasn't a spy like revealed, but like the hype surrounding this season, they pulled that off. Like I heard everyone like, who's the spy? I bet this person's the spy. They created such good hype, and yes, it was a bit of a letdown, but I liked it. It was a fun little thing to keep us going, and I enjoyed the whole season. I liked all of it, but just them living in that little farmhouse is just like making me happy, and just knowing they're safe for now is just making me happy.
The spy is giving Mephisto during WandaVision.
Like
It's the same Ryan thing.
they could
But
have done it so easy, like just made someone bad. Like I was convinced that it was gonna be Axe Woves when he went into like the capital ship. I was like, he's gonna pull some sneaky little shit and he's gonna be the spy. But then he didn't. And I was like, oh,
that was
okay.
such a cool moment, though.
Yes.
X Wolves crashing that plane. That was sick. And then Grogu using the Force to hold the
Mhm.
fire back was also really cool.
Yes.
Definitely a cool moment from the episode. I think my favorite moment or episode of the season, I guess, which is probably going to be very unpopular, is the Lizzo Jack Black episode. My
It was
prequel
so
heart seeing
fun.
those droids, seeing all the prequel droids running around, and we haven't seen them in a minute, so that was
Yes.
really cool. And it was just a fun little side adventure that, like, stuff that made season 1 of The Mandalorian so much fun for me.
Yeah.
So seeing Bo and Den do that together, and then the ending of that episode I really loved, of Bo getting the Darksaber back. So in a vacuum, that episode is like one of my favorite Mando episodes ever, especially because I love Lizzo and Jack Black as well. So seeing them in Star Wars
And
is
we got
really
Koska
freaking
back
cool.
that episode.
And we got Koska back that episode, and you know me, I love me some Sasha Banks. So I love that episode a lot. But my least favorite is going to be episode 3, just the Elia Kane and Dr. Pershing stuff. But at the time, I didn't really understand it, and I really hoped I would by the end of the season. But still, at this point, they set up like this memory wiping thing for it not to be used at all. They set up this idea of a spy, and all it really did was establish that Elia Kane still works for Moff Gideon. And they didn't even really directly announce that in the episode. I mean, they hinted towards it pretty hard.
Yeah.
But like, it seems like we could have gotten more of like Bo and Grogu or Din and Grogu, more of the dynamic that people wanted instead of having this weird side adventure. That would have been fine if that side adventure was like 20 minutes too, but it took up almost the entire episode. And just looking back in retrospect, it didn't really do much. Now, if Din had his memory erased in this last episode, like people were theorizing from that machine, it maybe would have made more sense to me because I have to establish that this memory messing machine is a real thing and it can be used for terrible things. But other than that, I don't think it really worked for me in the end. Jaden, what were your favorite and least favorite moments or episodes?
Um, I would definitely say least favorite moment of the season would have to be the extra long episode that took that took us through the Dr. Pershing thing. Like you said, didn't really add up. Don't understand it now, so it kind of like didn't really add any value to the season, I guess. Um, but I would say my favorite moment would probably have to be either Grogu getting IG-12
Yes.
because
Yes.
we were able
So
that
real.
I guess that was a little biased because we saw that episode at Star Wars Celebration. So when everybody saw that,
Oh my god,
everybody was
yes.
getting lit.
That was like the best
So
moment, like at Star Wars Celebration, watching like you don't think about like watching episodes of a live audience, like you go to watch
I
movies of
know.
an audience, but when it was like an episode and like every little thing everyone was just so hyped about and it was so much fun.
Yeah, that was a really cool moment. But I think also at the end here with Din officially adopting Grogu, I feel like that has been a long time coming. We've always like teased the father, yeah,
Also
the
like
father and son dynamic, but now that it's like official, it's I love it. I love it.
what the fuck are they doing with Grogu's name? Why is he Din
Din
Grogu?
Din
Grogu.
Grogu,
What
yes.
the
I'm
hell
not
is
calling
that?
him Din Grogu. I would be
Hell
that
no.
person.
Hell no.
Does that just mean it's just Djarin now? Like, did he
I
lose his
don't
Din?
know. I'm not calling him Jaren. Hell no. That's not his name. His name is Din.
No,
But like, why is
Din
it Din
Djarin, yeah.
Grogu? No, no. I hate
Nope.
it.
It's so silly. Does that make like is that just like a thing in
I don't
Mandalorian culture?
know.
Does that
Cause
mean
like,
like Paz
who else has
Vizsla is
that?
just Paz and whatever his last name is now?
I don't
Or like
know.
what?
I
I
hate
don't
it.
understand how names work in Star Wars clearly.
I'm like, is everyone on Mandalore gonna call him both of them Din now? Like what?
It's so weird.
I
And like
know.
Star Wars names
That's
are
funny.
always weird because you have people like Rey who just have
Yeah,
one name or Yoda.
yeah,
And then you have people like Mace Windu, Anakin Skywalker, Poe Dameron, who all have multiple names.
yeah.
So who decides who gets the last name?
Literally, it makes
Who
no
gets one
sense.
name?
Oh
And
well.
names in Star Wars continue to be weird. But let's talk about the season as a whole. I know there's been a lot of discourse online. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think probably undisputedly, it's probably the weakest season of the three. But it doesn't mean it was necessarily bad. Layla, I'll just throw it to you. What did you think of the season as a whole?
I loved it. I'm always gonna love the Mandalorian. Like there is nothing they could do. They could, I don't know, kill everyone, and I'd be like, oh my god, this was such a good episode. I love this season so much. Like I don't care. It's one of those
You would
things.
not say that if they
Oh,
killed literally everyone.
I would because I
If
would be
Grogu
like,
got decapitated in Din's arms just
okay,
for Din
then
being
I would be
shot,
like,
you would
fuck
not say
yourself.
you
Golly.
love the episode.
Oh
But
my
like
goodness.
my point's that I would still like deep down be like, it's my favorite show ever. Like I love these characters. Like I love this season. But yeah, I really there was some really enjoyable moments. I get, like I said before, I get where people are coming from when they say it was like weak. Fine, but I fucking loved it. Yes, it was the weakest season of the three, but I still enjoyed it. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't there 8 a.m. on the dot every week waiting to watch it. Like I'm always gonna be like that, you know? I loved it.
For sure. Jaden, what did you think of it?
Yeah, as a whole, like kind of like Layla was saying, like I'm gonna love it regardless. I love the show, I love The Mandalorian. And it also, so being that this was Star Wars and such, it gave me an excuse to go back and watch some of the Mandalore and the Mandalorian episodes of the Clone Wars, which because I was having trouble remembering like the myths and stuff with the Mythosaur episode and all that stuff, so I had to go back and kind of do my research again, which was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that, so it was a good season, and it brought me back into the Star Wars mindset, as everyone says. But yeah, I loved it.
I definitely agree. It wasn't like my favorite, but did I feel like I had to watch it every week? No, I wanted to watch it every week. Like, I will always want to watch the show. It's so much fun. The dynamics are good. And even though I wish the story had more of a through line throughout the entire season, it definitely felt like a big time culmination, even though it wasn't my favorite. And I agree with you, Jaden. It's got me in a really Star Warsy mood. I just watched all 7 seasons of the Clone Wars in a matter of 2 months because of it, and now I'm starting Rebels. And don't worry, guys, the Star Wars content is not slowing down because releasing a week from today at time of recording is Jedi Survivor, where I will be in my Cal Kestis Stan era. I will be going absolutely feral every time I play that game. I'm so excited. We'll be here next week to talk about it, hopefully. And yeah, This is so Star Wars vibes are hitting right now, and I'm so
Hmm.
excited about it. But unless there's anything else you two want to add, that will be it for our discussion on the Mandalorian.
I'm a little sad we didn't see the face this season. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that helmet was coming off this episode. I thought they would capture Din and Moff Gideon would rip his helmet off and we would see that beautiful little face. But fuck no. I get that he was busy with The Last of Us, but come on. You could have come for 10 minutes of shooting. Like, I was begging on my knees at this point, but I'll get over it eventually, I guess.
You'll have to wait to see his face until the cowboy movie now.
Yes. Which I'm very excited for. Strange Way of Life. I think it comes out in like August or something. Stream it.
Coming soon.
So funny.
And also coming soon, next week we have a big show. We'll be talking about Jedi Survivor. We'll be prepping y'all for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And we will have our first ever draft as we are doing our OG Disney Channel draft, hopefully with some
Yes.
special guests. I'm so excited. This is our era of Disney Channel. It's talking things Hannah Montana, Sweet Life on Deck, Lemonade Mouth, High School Musical, all of the favorites. We're going to get into it and get competitive and draft the best roster possible. And it's going to be a great time. But Layla and Jaden, where can the people find you?
You can find me on all socials at FalconsNat. I've mentioned this a few times, but I was on the AOF podcast last night and we'd had a really great discussion about The Mandalorian as well. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Yes, and you can find me on all socials at jaden.cmduran. I've been pretty inactive, I'm not gonna lie, so just look out for whenever I do post.
Yes, absolutely. Watch out for these posts and make sure you're following all of the Agents of Fandom on across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere you go, we'll be there. And make sure to check out all the great content we got coming. We got Comic Corner, we got Ticket to Reality, we have the Agents of Fandom podcast, Listen 3000, the critics, and of course us at Fandom Academy. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We have wonderful content up on the website every day. Tons of great articles surrounding Guardians of the Galaxy, Star Wars, Ahsoka, anything you want. A lot of anime stuff's going on right now. Damon Streams is killing it. Make sure you go check out his work. And you can go to our store at aofandom.com where there's a whole bunch of sick merch. Get some birthday presents from your friends. Get some t-shirts for this nice summer weather that's coming. And yeah, thanks you guys for being on here. As always, you can find me at cjdar_ on just about anything. Follow me on Letterboxd. I think Letterboxd is my favorite social media.
Yes.
So that's probably where I'm on the most outside of Twitter because I have a crippling Twitter addiction. But make sure you keep up to date with all of our stuff. And we'll see you next week. Peace.